Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tammy Eisenreich. I'm a parent partner for the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and today we are going to be speaking with Nina Shaw. She is the programs manager for Wheelchairs for Kids. And to start off, we're going to show a little video that highlights Wheelchair for Kids and everything that they do for families. So take a peek.
And that is what we do.
You do a lot, a lot. Um, so I guess let's start with I know you and I have chatted, but who is eligible when you say physical disabilities? What, I mean, is there
So
any?
we deal with mobility impairment is kind of where our bylaws take us. So we are able to help children up to the age of 21, as long as we've got all the paperwork in before the 21st birthday, we will be able to assist. The child must have a physical disability. And we are able to assist with equipment that aids in mobility and accessibility. So if we can get it to fit in that box, as we were mentioning, we will try a way to make it happen. We will find a way to make that.
So when I think of physical disabilities, I think it could be an injury, possibly,
Yes.
or genetic disorder that hinders their
Yes,
mobility.
so some of our more common physical disabilities that we see is a lot of cerebral palsy because that is such a huge umbrella and it affects kids in such a different way, whether it be hypotonia, muscle loss, muscle weakness. Um, our application does need to be filled out by a medical professional from each child, and that's where they get the opportunity to explain a little bit of what the mobility impairment is. We have a lot of kids that have spina bifida, Duchenne, any type of muscular dystrophy. We've had a couple of kids that had car accidents, and that's where their mobility impairment came from. So it's a big umbrella. As, as we say, we try to cut it down and try to make it fit a box so
Mhm.
we can help. That is our main goal. Our main goal is to try to make it.
Yeah. I had a family that had pediatric cancer and had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in their bone marrow of,
Mhm.
I don't know, both legs, one leg, and ended up losing their legs. So I
Yes,
didn't, okay, I was pretty sure. How about we take a look at your website?
sure.
And because remind me, your application is not online. To get your
It
application.
is not online because we have a couple of things that are very specific in the way they need to be filled out. Um, And we like the opportunity to discuss with parents or with the advocates or medical team of each child how this needs to be filled out so they can do it once and not have to send paperwork back and forth, which is really tiring. Most of our parents have to fill out a lot of medical paperwork already. So if we can get them to do it in one quick, easy step, it's better. So who can nominate? Who can nominate a child? Anybody. Parents, relatives, teachers, therapists, social workers, the medical personnel, your neighbor. Um, I've had parents that we've worked with and somebody calls me like, I met this lady in the parking lot at Walmart, and she said you can help me get a wheelchair for my child. I'm like, yeah, well, that's who we are. um, I have very passionate parents that have been very happy with the um, support we have provided, so they advocate for us, which is great.
Mhm.
Our application, all you have to do is call somebody from our programs team will respond to all your questions. We'll send you out an email with the application. It is a 7-page application, but it goes really easily. The first page is just a signature and the date from parents understanding what needs to be filled out. And then there's another 4 pages that the family has to fill out, which includes address, phone number, who lives in the home, what is the child's diagnosis, measurements, and things like that. And then the last 2 pages, we do ask that they be filled out by a medical professional. This can be the physical therapist, the general doctor, the PT at school. I've had school nurses also send it in. It's just somebody that has a little bit more of the medical knowledge that we can reach out to and say, like, hey, I've got this accessory marked down, but I am seeing that this one has a better fit or a better price because we do have to watch out where we're spending our money. So that is why we need a medical professional that we can go back to in case we have any questions. And the two complicated parts that we're very specific about is we require witness signatures on page 5, which is where the parents sign, and page 7, which is where the medical professional signs. And the witness signature has to match the date of the person that is signing, because that means they're actually watching you sign.
It
If it's
doesn't
on a
have to
different
be
day,
notarized. You just
it
want to
does
have it.
not have to be notarized. It
Okay.
just have to be on the same date with a pen. No pencils, please.
Because you're stipulating that, I'm guessing it's because you've received applications that weren't.
That is the number one reason we have to go back to parents and ask for it again. Um, it's the main reason. So if you're just very careful to make sure that both those signatures are on the same date, send it in by mail. We need all original documents. And when we receive it, we look over it and let you know that everything's good to go. We do ask for 3 to 5 recent photos of the child, but those can be emailed in. No need to go out and print them and spend money on it because we need them electronically anyway. So when the application arrives or when parents call for information, we'll let them know where those pictures can be sent.
So they reach out inquiring, wanting the application, you email it to them, then they
Uh-huh.
print it off and they fill
Yes,
out their portion, get the doctor's portion, the signature, like you said, it could be the doctor signing it and then the nurse or the secretary can be the
exactly.
witness. It doesn't have
Hmm.
to be notarized. And then it's mailed to you and then
Yes,
the
ma'am.
photos later. Okay.
Yes.
Itemized bill. You didn't mention that. We talk about maybe they want this particular wheelchair or trike. I love some of the mobility items. They're unique to me. I'm like, these are really,
Aren't they awesome?
mhm. Um,
So we promise, our promise is we will get the child everything they need, not necessarily the brand they need. Because like in everything in life, there are brands that have a higher price tag on them when they provide the same service per se. And the easiest way to say this is, well, I have a Toyota Highlander, and that takes me perfectly comfortable and safe on any road trip I need. Now, would I like to have a Ferrari? Well, yeah, I could. That'd be fun. It's not going to get me there any safer. It's not going to get me there any more comfortable, probably even less comfortable, but that's another thing. Um, so we will provide everything that the child needs, not necessarily the brand.
okay. Is it, I mean, but realistically, you want the family to have some type of idea of what the cost of the item they're requesting from you is worth, right? Like, I just know like iPads. There's families that have no idea what a tablet would actually cost their child. So I've seen where, when asked, what device do you want? And they put $99 or they put $1,000. Like they really don't. I feel like sometimes parents need to do a little research when you're asking someone for help or someone for assistance. It needs to have a value to it, don't you think? Or
I agree with that statement. I don't think we always share exactly with parents the cost of things. And I'll share something that happened to us, which was it kind of made me feel really bad, but we worked really hard to get a child a very specific type of bike because of the disabilities he had. It had to be custom made and custom fit, and it was all very, very customized and went above our budget. So we worked with other nonprofits to get him this bike. And the estimated value of the bike was $7,000. And we sent parents a survey asking them, well, how did we do? Did you like our service? How was the friendliness of our staff? Because there's 5 or 6 of us that work, and I'd like to know if everybody's being friendly and nice and doing their job. And the parent complained that the bike was too big. I'm like, but it can't be any smaller, and this is the one that you requested. I would have gone a different route, but you asked for this one and it's all this money. And that's your complaint that it's too long and it takes up space in your garage, where it's providing your child with the opportunity to go out and have fun and explore and have peer equivalent activities. Um, so yeah, I do think that at some point it is very beneficial for parents to also know the cost of things, um, because everything is very expensive.
Yeah. I just sometimes I feel like they ask and they're not even, I mean, and I think these mobility items sometimes they, oh, well, so and so got a trike. We want, we want that for ours. Well, maybe they haven't gone out and sat on one or tried one.
Mhm.
I mean, that's where I feel like when you're asking for something, being specific about your need, I think is good because so many parents say any little bit would help, which is true. But I think the more specific they can be makes it easier and you get more buy-in. But I was noticing on the home modifications, um, it talks about you must own your home and have a notarized letter from the owner
Mhm.
permitting this modification. So that's only if, I mean, if it's your home, you're authorizing this.
Yes.
The work would still be done by someone near, like, I know you guys are out of Orlando, but let's say even if you had a family, my concept of Florida, if you had a family up in Daytona Beach or, or in Toledo or far enough away, you would want, most likely you would collaborate with the
With
particular.
someone local.
Okay, I just wanted
Yes.
to make sure parents knew that this is open to all 50 states, correct?
Yes.
And is there any type of income requirement or any other, I'm trying to draw out any other criteria or restrictions that you would have.
So it's a little bit difficult talking about income restrictions. We don't have like a definite cutoff. We do have a financial guide that we use to help determine um, families' income. But we also realize that some families that have a higher income don't have access to a lot of the resources, and therefore their out of pocket is much more expensive. So we do understand that, but we also ask parents to not use this as their first resource. Um, not try, we ask for denials from insurance, we ask for denials from Medicaid. We know some of the equipment that gets denied and why. Um, but just because it's free, it shouldn't be a reason to apply.
Completely. I totally feel like a Toys R Us giveaway sometimes. It feels, it
Yeah.
gets to be October, early November. Parents like, oh, what are we gonna get our child for Christmas? And they look for, yeah, I 100% follow your line of thought. Trying to think. What
It's
else?
those things that you have to mention very delicately because yes, I do understand, but we're trying to help the population that has to decide on whether getting the equipment for their child or getting groceries.
Mhm.
Um, not um, oh, we want this bike and that way we can, I don't know, take a vacation.
Right.
Um, so it's just trying to serve a population that is in a much more financial bind, I think.
You guys also have, I was looking at the different things that you do, your Guardians of the Wheel kids, your really
Mhm.
fun day. Didn't you just have one?
Yes, we just had a really fun day this past Saturday where we took 39 kiddos to Gatorland. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to clarify, we are not based out of Orlando. We are outside, we're outside of Tampa Bay. We are in Tarpon Springs.
Okay. I think the restaurant thing was in Orlando.
Talk of the town, their main office is in Orlando. And that's probably why you got it. But yes, this past weekend we took 39 kiddos and their families to Gatorland, where they had the opportunity to zip line over a pond filled with gators. And it is an adaptive zip line. So our kiddos, they get to sit in a sling very similar to the slings used on a Hoyer lift. Um, and then they're just thrown over the lake and then off you go. It's amazing. I I sometimes have a hard time believing parents trust us to do the
They
things
do
we've
that.
done with our kids. But I just this morning, and let me get into it because I had an email from a parent. And it says, I just wanted to thank you so much for a fun outing to Gatorland on Saturday. It was wonderful to be able to zip line with my daughter, something she otherwise would have not been able to do. We all had such a great time and can't wait to hopefully do it again next year. We are so thankful for these events and all the work to do for families like ours. It really means so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you post pictures?
Yes, keep going further down.
I'm like,
If
I thought I saw pictures of this and
Yeah, right there.
these are, oh my gosh, you did a lot. So question, would a family, the reason I bring this up is I know, like autism on the sea, having a son with autism, there's autism on the seas. Um, and I'm drawing up surfers for autism. A lot of
Mhm.
those are on obviously on the coast where the water is. We would sometimes plan our family vacation around their events. So like if they had an event in Folly Beach, South Carolina, we would, and we could coordinate it while we
Fun.
were there. We were able to participate in their event. Are there requirements with the wheelie days? Like how far out do you guys post what you're doing? Would a family from Ohio be able
So
to join in on something like that if they were available?
that's the glitch. Um, our events are only and exclusively for the families we have worked with.
So you already have that relationship with them.
Yes.
Okay. No, well, that's good to,
Um,
so if
we
a,
are growing. So most of our events, I would say 80-90% of our events are in the Tampa Bay area, kind of Central Florida, a lot like that there, that's Gatorland. Gatorland that's in Orlando. Our water skiing event is in Winter Haven. But we do have, for example, in Texas, we have a really fun camp weekend, and that is for all of our families from all over Texas. And we only do Texas because it's really big. You can't bring in another state, otherwise the drive is really, really hard. But that is a camp where we have amazing adventures. These are all at no cost to the family. And they get a 2-night stay in the cabin. All their meals are paid for. We have adaptive rock climbing. We have a challenge course, a high ropes challenge course. You got to see a little bit about it in the video that I shared. Um, and that is for all our families in Texas. And then we have another event in Georgia at the end of the summer. And there we pull in families from Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. You're challenging my geography, which I'm not really good at. I think even some families from Louisiana drove over. It's a little bit easier because it's kind of like the bottom of all the states. So we're expanding. We're trying to make our really fun days more accessible to more families that we work with because we are nationwide. We've got some plans to grow in the future, but we don't have anything set yet. Um, and because our events are for our families only and they are on a first come, first serve basis, we will send an email blast out and give a deadline, and whoever responds gets to go.
so if you were to, let's say, help a family up in the Toledo area, get a, one of those, the
Tricycles.
tricycles or the walkers, they would get on your email list then. And so that
Hmm.
would be notified when something like this was happening.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes 100%. I just saw that and it seemed very, very interesting and fun for families and to be able to be with other families that are walking similar journeys, same paths as you. Maybe I see you have a lot of older kids, which is
Yeah.
great because I think sometimes when parents have a child, where I have a family right now that has a 7-year-old with cerebral palsy already, you know, already knowing what their future is at 7 could be kind of daunting and
Mhm.
overwhelming for them. So to be with a family that maybe has a 17, 18-year-old and to see the quality of life that they are able to have, I think would really, help a
We
parent.
we have I call them the girl gang. It's a group, I think, of 5 or 6 girls, and they are between 14 and 16, kind of, they're all there. They've all been part of our program for a couple of years, so they've been able to see each other at events quite often, and so the parents have gotten to know each other very well. And it's been a couple of times when they've organized to get together at the mall, and these girls all have power chairs. So they're able to be very independent. So they get together at the mall, all the parents stay at the food court,
So they're
and
on
these 5 girls
Yep.
will go to the mall on their own and just have a girl afternoon, a teenage girls afternoon at the mall,
Yeah,
giggling, shopping, doing whatever they want. And how awesome is that?
that's great. Oh, well, good. I I think I've asked everything, but I also know you and I have chatted, so I'm 100% convinced if I miss, you are the contact person when they reach out to
Yes,
you.
we
Yes.
only have one phone number. Um, we don't use extensions here. We're a small office. So anybody that calls and they ask for anything about an application, they will be passed on to programs, and it'll be either me or one of the programs coordinator or programs assistant that will walk them through what the application process is. If you don't like calling and you like the anonymity of using a Facebook Messenger or an email, because that's just more convenient for you, our info at Wheelchairs for Kids, we're on that constantly, a message through Facebook. If you just want ideas of things you can do with your kids, go onto our Facebook, follow us. We're posting about what we do with our kids. You might be surprised that something like that is available close to you. Um, for example, one that I can think of, iFly, the um, indoor wind tunnel. I think they have locations. I've seen them in other places. And I know that once a week they have what is called an All Abilities program for children that need that special adaptability. So maybe somebody can go onto our website and see, like, oh, water skiing. Well, let me see if there's anything like that close by. You might not be able to join ours, but you might get some ideas of what you can do with your children.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Nina. It was a pleasure talking with you. And hopefully, if any parent has any questions, they can always reach out to you to get. I always say if you have questions beforehand, it's always good to give a jingle ahead of time before you actually start the whole application process. So I thank you
Yeah,
for,
we'll be happy to answer any question. We want to help. That is our passion. Everybody here is very passionate. And so just let us know how we can help.
oh, I know vehicle modifications are a big thing up in this neck of the woods right
Yeah.
now. Modifications are what you wouldn't help with the van purchase.
No, we cannot help with the van purchase. Vehicle modifications are a little bit complicated because from the outside, all you can see is that a ramp is on the vehicle. So I get a lot of families that are like, yeah, I just want a ramp for my van. I'm like, but that's what you see. What you're not seeing is that the car is actually cut in half and about 5 or 6 inches are added to the bottom of that car. And then there's a whole motor and a ramp. Um, and some vehicle modifications can cost upwards of $20,000, which is a huge budget, which we do not have. But as a very wise contractor once told me, if you get enough crumbs together, you can make a loaf of bread. So we are able to put in a small amount towards the last payment for that vehicle modification and help families get it done.
So it's good to collaborate.
Yes.
I think, and I tell families the average grant is usually only about $1,000. There's some
Hmm.
that do 500, so they spread out, and then there's others that do go up a little higher, 2,500 or whatever. But I think the van modifications, even therapy animals as well are upwards of
Yes.
20,000. And I think, and don't let me misspeak for your organization, but typically organizations want to know that you're looking at other organizations that, because if they ask, well, where else have you applied? I think parents sometimes are like, oh, I don't want to tell them that I'm looking at this organization or this
Mm-hmm.
organization. But when something is so costly and you are maybe only able to, your organization could fund 1,500 or 1,000, you have to wonder where the other $18,000 is going to come from. So
Exactly.
I always tell parents to be open and honest and, yeah, you've applied here, here, and here, but you haven't heard yet. I mean, I say from a parent perspective, that shows that you're looking under every rock possible out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that shows you're that parent that's going to get this done. And those are the ones that, organizations want to help, that have the follow through, that, like you said, sending pictures, keeping you updated on their progress. So I just want to make sure that I'm not never misspeaking to a family, but it just makes sense that, let's work together. Let's see if we can get this done, as a collaboration. So, okay.
Exactly. You were exactly right.
Well, thank you again. And as
You
I,
are so very welcome.
if families want to find this recording, or other recordings like this, you can go to the lucasdd.org, website under Finding Funds.